Aiden's Adventure Encyclopedia? Aiden's Adventure Encyclopedia. Aiden's Adventure used to be about solo adventures until Part 3 was Aiden's sister's first appearance for Aiden's Adventure series. She used to be in movies called The Plant Delivery. She still is. Part 3 also adds Hoyle to the movies. His first appearance had a fuzzy felt mustache with the same hat. And here's the bad news about that movie. Not bad news. Hoyle also adds trouble to Aidenville in later movies in Part 5. He looks a bit different. Instead of a blue mustache, he appears with the red one and has a cup that seems very thin. In the 7th Aiden's Adventure, Hatter and Hatini, Hatter originally referred to as Corsani, were created. Since Aiden and Hoyle look alike, Hatter talks about life in Aidenville. Hattie became Boxer in later movies. Were created for more bad guys, but were actually Aiden's friends. Hoyle then threatens Aiden in Part 9 of making Aidenville Hoville. Oh no! Now let's start off with the first movie in the series, Aiden's Adventure, made July 1st of 2020. Now here are the only characters. There's only 2 characters. But if you look closely, there's one more character. So be sure to look out for him. It's an animal, so be on the lookout. Oh, and one more. There's one called Mommy. So first, here's the characters. Aiden, he's the main character. He goes on the adventure by himself. Poochie, she is Aiden's pet goat. She can be seen in the background, the woods. And she can be seen in the beginning, in the background, running in the woods scene. Cool. Now here's the story of why Aiden went out in the woods. When Aiden goes out in the woods of Strange, which is actually Dreamland, later called Dreamland, he falls asleep on some mysterious moss. He finds it everywhere. Aiden may be stuck. Aiden will be on many adventures later, but let's focus on this particular movie for a while. Oh, let's hope Aiden gets out of the Dreamland, the dream world. Aiden's first adventure might be the shortest out of them all. It's only 12 minutes, but it's the only movie with woods as the most used scene out of them all. The 2nd and 4th movie have an outdoor scene too, but not as the main scene. Oh, the Aiden's Adventure series gets a Part 2? Ooh, we had to see that one. Aiden's Adventure 2. Cool. Made July 2nd, 2020. Same characters, Aiden and Poochie, but nah. And here's the story of why Aiden came to the world. Aiden gets stuck in the Dreamland, and this time he has to find a magical pencil. If he fails, he may never return home. Uh-oh. Aiden might be under a much more dramatic adventure than last time, but it's still a great adventure movie to watch. Aiden and Poochie might also be the same characters from the first movie, but it's just like the first one, adventures. Now, you know this fact is very interesting. Well, maybe it's not real, but this fact is amazing. This movie was recorded before Graceland's first appearance for Aiden's Adventure series. more about that later. But the person who needs help seems to be Graceland, because you can slightly hear her in the background. Here. In this movie, Aiden actually finds the same woods he was in. Aiden looks all over for the key to the big mansion. Oh, finally. Not only 2 characters or 4 characters or whatever, this adds more characters. Aiden's Adventure 3. What? Now, here are the characters. 2 more characters in their first appearance. Aiden, the main character. He is Hoyel's originally hotel owner's enemy. Hoyel, he's one of the new characters in this movie. The character who runs the Fun Hotel, which he owns the Grand Hotel now. But it all makes sense if you watched Aiden 2015. Graceland, she's another new character in this movie. She is Aiden's sister. This is her very first appearance. Poochie, just like the other movies, Aiden's pet goat. Now here's the story. If you thought Hoyel was good at the beginning of this story, in this movie, be surprised. Story. Aiden and his sister Graceland head to the Fun Hotel. The fun in the logo should really be horrible. Now that would make sense if you watch the movies. 3 to what they have now. Now, Aiden and friends might be thinking about a fun vacation this week, but it seems like Hoyel's making a vacation himself off of Aiden and Graceland. That's bad. Others. Here are like the secrets and stuff that are in different movies. Others. The Go Anywhere suitcase. You know what that is. You see the suitcase in every one of these pictures? Well, if you can find them, let me tell you. The small size suitcase Aiden carries around looks familiar. See it? Have you seen it in all 3 movies? Now, if I'm wrong with the number, let me tell you. This is August 23rd, 2020. It could appear in an upcoming Aiden's Adventure movie. I think it's in Aiden's Adventure 2015. It wasn't recorded in 2015, no. Aiden's Adventure 4 comes out July 4th, 2020. Was that one good? Okay. Just the same characters, but I'll read them. Aiden and Poochie, Graceland, and Hoyel. Now here's the story and the bad part. Hoyel was expecting Aiden and Graceland to be prisoners. Hoyel's second appearance is a bit more spooky and powerful. Hoyel just knows he'll capture them at some time, but he hasn't yet. Looks like it will be the other way around. Now, here's for the secrets of some of Aiden's adventures so far. The outside scene, actually Dreamland, had the same exact woods in the background as in Aiden's Adventure and Aiden's Adventure 2. Look closely and you'll find it too. See the fence? It's in other movies. Well, I'm going to show you this next page. Let me read it. Fun fact, all the outdoor scenes of Aiden's Adventure can be seen in, I know it's not Aiden's Adventure, but it's still in these movies, the Plant Delivery 5 Lost in the Woods that came out today. Also, they're called the same thing. And like in Aiden's Adventure 2, Graceland has to find a problem and solve it. She didn't, but hey, neither did Aiden. He just left that person who needed his help. Wonder why. But you see these circles? See that circle by the fence in the tree? Look, you can see it in the close. That circle leads to, look in the far corner. of Aiden's Adventure picture that says Aiden's Adventure, the one on top of the big one, teeny tiny one. You see that stump and the fence that you can barely see? That's the same fence and stump. And in this circle, you see that hut looking thing, the roof? In this circle, the shortest one, well, guess what? That's the house and that the picture beside the one with the pole. So, pretty cool. So, these circles match up the secrets in the movies. The fence line, well, I already told you all that. Also, in Aiden's Adventure 4, you can see the same house in Aiden's Adventure. Oh, this one's a really good one. Aiden's Adventure 6. Now, this came out in August of 2020, but I don't remember what day. Probably August 8th, I think. The reason we don't include Aiden's Adventure 5 is because it was deleted. I don't remember anything that happened in it. But Aiden's Adventure 6 is just as good. That doesn't mean that Aiden's Adventure 5 was bad. But hey, I don't remember. Aiden's Adventure 6 includes an adventure with Benny and Poochie as actors. About time. Aiden's Adventure 6, also called Aiden's Adventure Goat Prisoners, seems almost like two movies. That's what I feel like. Except the first part is Poochie saving Benny, Poochie and Aiden saving Benny. Then the last part is Benny and Aiden saving Poochie. Funny. Get ready for this next part. Story. Aiden helps Benny and Poochie out while dodging Hoya. Aiden's Adventure 6 is the first Aiden's Adventure movie not to have an outdoor scene. Sad. But that doesn't mean the movie's bad. Oh, fun fact about Hoya. Hoya's name was actually brought up without adding a few letters, just one letter, just to replace the T with the Y. Funny? Because Hoya was a bad guy. Yeah. Because he was a bad guy. Yale, hotel. So it was combined and they came up with Hoya. So that's where they got his name from. Pretty creative. Aiden's Adventure Hoya Machines, actually referred to as Aiden's Adventure Hoya or Aiden's Adventure 7. It came out on August 8th, 2020. Oh, you hear something fascinating? Aiden's Adventure Hoya Machines, also called Aiden's Adventure 7, is the first Aiden's Adventure movie, of course, to have, instead of hotel owners, this is where they came up with Hoya's name. So they went on with 4 movies without him having an actual name. Before this movie, he was called Hotel Owner. So in this movie, it just became Hoya, because it's kind of a tongue twister. I think. Oh, and something else. This movie, this is just a page without words because this is just to talk about this kind of stuff. So, I came up with this. So, amazingly, you might have never thought this, but Harold was originally going to be a bad guy. Isn't that amazing? That's why the title is called Hoya Machines. Ever thought of that? That's because they were the Hoya Machines. They were originally going to be bad guys, but then they thought, maybe it'd be better for it to be Aiden's friends. So that's what happened, because they were going to originally be just like Hoya, as you can see on the title, or on the front page. Like, right when you watch it, it shows a picture of bunches of Hoya looking people, That's what he was going to look like. But then they thought he needed to look different. So that's how he's hired. He was going to be a bad guy at one point. Oh, and there's not a lot to say about Aiden's Adventure 7. No, not really. Except Hatter and Hatini came out. But I do have a question. Want to cook cookie? Question only makes sense if you watch the whole movie. Try to watch it. Then you'll find out. Aiden's Adventure 2015. August Mystery 2020. You probably know everything that happens in Aiden's Adventure with the Aiden's Adventure Encyclopedia, but I don't think you know about Aiden's history. That's what Aiden's Adventure 2015 is about. Aiden's history. That means in this movie,